the park and practice Buddhism and start meditating, you within an hour will be in a jail cell, and within a year you will have your organs harvested. Meanwhile, we're obsessed with tranny bathrooms over here as a psychological warfare just to totally break us down and make us a total joke. What happened while the Chinese communists took over America? Oh, we obsessed over teaching 5-year-olds that they could be a woman if they're a man, they could be a man if they were a woman, just to jack with them, you know. And we obsessed with men having big beards. I don't care if they have a big beard. It's just like, that's all we care about. Big beards and trannies and acting cool. And what did Seinfeld say? And Jimmy Fallon says, you down with TPP? Obama goes, you know me. It's fun and cute to have foreign banks and the communist Chinese, you know, involved in all this, running us with unelected secret groups. Because you know what? They got a great jazz band up there with Obama wearing a sharp $10,000 suit with Jimmy Fallon. And it's all cute and funny, and they're suave while they steal your future as actual foreign operatives, destroying you and your future. And Trump is standing against it. I don't want to thumbprint to buy and sell. Well, ABC News says soon everyone will accept a chip. Got to make an intro video showing all the news now going, of course you'll have chips in your body to buy and sell. Only conspiracy theorists are against it. Oh, I thought we were conspiracy theorists for reading DARPA reports 20-something years ago saying that was the goal, was to have everything in the real third dimension tracked by smart dust that is RFID basically, so that there's an Internet of Things and everything is tracked in real time so they can put that through supercomputers and predict the future and then guide the future. I was told that by NSA whistleblowers 20 years ago, 18 years ago, 17 years ago, 16 years ago, when I'd be doing a live broadcast at a car show or a rodeo, or I'd be signing DVDs at a movie event premiere, and I'd be going out to get in my car. It was always the same. Just like Matt Drudge says, the only way to give somebody info under the radar is to meet in a parking garage. Almost every time, it'd be someone in a parking garage that I guess had been following me. And they would just tell me stuff or give me documents. And, of course, I'd show my dad, and he'd say, shred that immediately. And then I would go on air, though, and talk about what I'd seen, and all hell would break loose. I'd walk out in the parking lot of Access TV like 19 years ago, and there'd be Army soldiers in plain clothes going, what you planning, Alex? You got a team, a terror team to attack something? I'd be like, what are you talking about? And even then I could tell, because it started to happen, they were like military people. They'd be like, yeah, well, you better watch it, Alex. You better watch it. Or I'd be coming out of the radio studio, and there'd be like, 2 FBI agents going, hey, Alex, what you planning? Planning anything bad? I'd be like, no, who are you with? Well, you know who we're with. And, of course, they quit doing it as soon as I always started carrying a camera or sticking it in their face. But I remember having these engineers go, they've already got cameras in the TVs and microphones. Open up the Scientific Atlantic cable box they're installing. And I'd bust one open on air and on TV, and people couldn't believe. We got death threats, you name it, hidden camera, hidden microphone. And now you just know that's a fact. Zuckerberg says, oh, of course they're watching you. Cover up your webcam. Cover up your Samsung TV. They're all doing it. And it's a global plan where all car manufacturers for at least 14 years are putting boxes in your car. They're going to tax you by the mile. And again, it's all pre-planned. And I'm just here telling you this. We've gone from getting this info from, I'm sitting there getting a beer and chili at like 9 at night. I've been on the air for 2 hours at the rodeo. And one of the same guys that gave me info is like, hey, Alex, hey, how you doing? You need to understand you're not getting it right. It's about predicting the future. It's about predicting the future. If there's a trend coming up, they want to know to control it, whether they want to kill it or take control of it to make money to then consolidate the economy. But once they can predict the future, they can add stimuli to control the future, control the future. And it's like you're in a science fiction movie. You're going, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. Isn't that like an Isaac Asimov book? Yes, exactly. That was the World Futurist Society preparing the public for the program. These weren't like crazy guys. They'd like get in $150,000 Mercedes and stuff and drive off. I mean, these were top engineers that were totally freaked out because they were the ones wiring all the AI in. And the more I'd talk about it, the more these engineers would bring me stuff because they cared, man. They were like, inside Time Warner, inside, one of them was told me he was with AT&T, and he goes, "We aren't listened to by the NSA, Mr. Jones. We are the NSA. Their whole floors at all our major hub facilities, we are the NSA. Everything passes through it. There are NSA offices that then break it up and send it to the other agencies." All that came out 6-7 years ago, exactly as I told you, because I was getting it directly from the corporate mercs who were in the briefings and the meetings about how it was to control the future, dominate society, towards the end of actuarying the economy to shut down all grassroots economies. They're going to regulate and tax where it's impossible for you to operate. So when you're forced to work for them or go on welfare, you can be socially engineered. And what did they just give a Nobel Prize to this professor a few years ago? He just spoke at Bilderberg. You know, he developed the precariat. Oh, we've made the public precarious and dependent. Let's use that with a universal monthly payment that everyone gets, it'll finally be globally, to socially control people. Oh my gosh, they put us on welfare to control us? No, give him a Pulitzer Prize on top of it. So this is their plan, this is their program, and Trump is for real because they don't want these issues brought up. Do you think he's a shill bringing up that Hillary's a communist Chinese agent? We've got the video straight ahead. I'm telling you, this is epic. Stay with us. Now compare Hillary to Trump. Look at this witch compared to this patriot, and many were being taken over by the communist Chinese.
Look, we came, we saw,
Put Al-Qaeda in charge.
we died.
Then they invaded Syria.
We came,
And they invaded Europe.
we saw, we died.
And there's more terror attacks the media won't even call this a Islamic attack in Turkey.
We saw, we died. We came, we saw, we died.
What difference does it make?
It's not a laughing matter. I take it really seriously. Vote for me because I'm a woman. One of my merits is I'm a woman. All these mothers vote for me because I'm a woman.
They put a Buddhist woman in the back of a van to have her organs cut off for being a Buddhist. In China, you're a woman.
These mothers vote for me.
Saudi Arabia gives you $100 million bucks, you're a woman.
Woman running to be the first woman president.
Woman. Woman.
Who could be more of an outsider than a woman president?
I can't think of anything more of an outsider than electing the first woman president.
A woman president of the United
A
States.
woman president like Merkel?
Women.
No, you're just a woman, are you? You would hit a girl, would you? Woman. Isn't that just special? Isn't she just a sweetie pie? Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, Hillary helped with Clinton give nuclear reactors to North Korea. You can look it up via ABB. That allowed them to produce atomic and now hydrogen bombs. That's on record. And she gave all the missile secrets to the Chinese so they could get their Long March ICBM, that's the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, off the ground and allow it to come back into the atmosphere and deliver multiple warhead payloads into multiple military bases and cities. So Hillary's, I mean, anyone else caught doing that would be executed. But it's okay because George Herbert Walker Bush made the deal when he was the ambassador living in China for 4 years. And they brought the Clintons in for that whole shell operation so that Bush Sr. could have a couple more administrations but have left cover. He couldn't get his New World Order through because he was a Republican, supposedly, so he put a Democrat in to get the agenda through. And now that's all we're seeing today is an attempt of the communist Chinese. Out of all the special interest out there, it's them. And I've talked to a lot of big insiders. I got a couple of military calls the other day, and they go, is Tim Kennedy telling you this stuff? It's like, did you just tune into the show? We have Cy Hirsch on the broadcast. We've had Daniel Ellsberg on. We have all these generals and colonels on. We have all these sources. I've done my own research. Most of this stuff is public data. So, no, I'm not getting any of this from Tim Kennedy. I mean, at that level of special forces, they get a lot of info on a mission, but not on the big picture. He's a smart guy and has his own worldview, but people are like, well, you say you have a source on this. Yeah, like on Benghazi, our sources were so good, we told you everything that happened there before anybody else. People go, well, give us your sources. Some of them came on publicly, Dr. Pachinik, Colonel Schaefer, and others, Tosh Plumley. Others didn't. But it doesn't matter. The fact is, the proof is in the pudding. You judge a tree by its fruits. But I'm digressing here. I want to get into Trump and his epic speech yesterday on redeclaring our economic independence. We've been conquered economically. Deals were made. How do you bring down the U.S.? Our elites make a deal with the communist Chinese. They keep the U.S. militarily dominant to a certain extent. To hold them in check, they're allowed to be economically dominant. That's how globalism works. They have a systematic system. Kissinger's written books about this. They don't even deny this. To play those two forces off against each other while you integrate their power structures. And then you wage war against the general population itself, consolidating control. And now they're, from China to the EU to the United States, rolling out with robots to replace what's left of factory workers, even when the robots don't work a third as good, to make us totally dependent. That's the name of the game at every single front. So before I get into the Donald Trump speech and the rest of it, I am going to talk about a win-win here and something that's very important. I want people to listen to me very, very carefully. If everything they're doing is to make us dependent, while government builds unprecedented bunkers, while elites build armored redoubts and getaway hideouts and helicopter and aircraft airfields in the middle of nowhere, while they admit they're preparing for economic collapse, you have to understand it's all about taking us into a controlled collapse, beta testing it nation by nation, then bringing in a big collapse that happens globally, and managing all that to bring in total control on the ashes of the old order. And that's what even Soros is saying they're going to do. I've read their books. I've read their writings. Again, what I'm telling you is not my opinion. It is a boil down of what they say and what they're doing. So it's my perspective on their statements, but it's dead on. That's why so many foreign governments and intelligence agencies are on record listening to this show, because everything else is meant to be deceptive and twisted and fake. That's the globalist plan, is to have so much disinfo that even the opposition is running down rabbit trails and doesn't even know what they're talking about. We have cracked the code. We actually read hundreds of globalist books and publications and white papers. I mean, I read Council on Foreign Relations, Foreign Affairs. It's a bi-monthly book. They call it a journal. And Paul Watson reads it. And they come out and say, yes, we're geoengineering with aluminum salts, barium dioxide to change the atmosphere. Yes, we're going to end the family. Yes, we're running al-Qaeda in Syria. The headline was why we need al-Qaeda a few years ago. Yes, we're bringing in planetary government. Yes, we should have a revolution of the elite against the people and totally take their resources so we can control them. That's in a Council on Foreign Relations article today. It's up on Infowars.com. He actually says, you're the enemy. We're going to take your resources to enslave you. And the German president came out this Sunday and said, we need to have a war basically against the people. It's the people's fault, not us. When they're openly trying to manage things to shut off the resources. I mean, they have declarations of their hatred for us. They have declarations of what they're doing to us. And all I can tell you is hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Look at these headlines. FEMA contractor predicts social unrest caused by 395% food price spikes. And this is